This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.
Welcome to What's News Dunedin, brought to you by Hazur Kebab, the radio show that spawned from the 20,000 plus strong local Oti-Poiti Dunedin What's News Dunedin Facebook group. The group that's been putting the social back into social media since 2020 with respectful adult debate and a sense of humour. I'm your host, Richard Knights. On today's show, we talk to our wonderful guest, Dunedin's new Mayor, Sophie Barker, who'll be telling us more about themselves and what they do, as well as helping us look back at the posts that generated the most interactions over the past 7 days on the What's News Dunedin Facebook group. Those posts this week are the new roadside drug test for impairment that's being rolled out across the Motu. New Zealand First saying that they would repeal the regulatory standards bill that literally has just passed, and National also alluding to the fact that they might too. And the crimes legislation stalking and harassment amendment bill that's passed its final reading, and how that might help elected members deal with abuse. Welcome, Sophie.
Kia ora.
Now, before we get into all that kind of stuff, we've got we have a Punday Monday post in the group, which is basically bringing your best dad jokes and mum jokes, and seeing who gets the most laugh reacts. Our resident winner most weeks, Max Reed, a friend of the show, been on the show before. He gets the most laughs, right? I was hoping he didn't this week because I didn't get this joke for a long time. So we're gonna see whether you were any better than me, all right? Because I understand it now.
Yeah.
But when I read it, I'm sitting there, I'm shaking my head at going like, I don't get it. But anyway, so he got the most laugh reacts. So therefore, it joins me on the show on a Friday, right? So we're gonna see if it comes off the page, which it didn't for me anyway, and into the spoken word, and we'll see where we go. So it is a bit of a thinker. Okay. Well, it was for me anyway. So I'm embarrassing myself here because when people listen, they're going to go,
"You're building it up."
I know that people are going, "No, I get that straight away, Rich." Anyway, so pun of the week. At the annual Cooper's Hill cheese rolling competition in Gloucester this year, the official photographer was severely injured after being hit by a large wheel of Dorset blue cheddar. To be fair, the group he was photographing at the time did try to warn him. You got obviously got better.
Well, I'm just like, I build a picture in my head and all I can see is big cheese wheels going down and he's not paying any attention, so he's getting hit. Now, there's a pun in there and I'm not getting that, am I?
The pun is, what do you say when you have a photo taken?
Cheese. Oh, that's so bad.
So the people
oh my God.
So they're saying cheese, and he's just taking their photo rather than kind of dodging the cheese, right? Oh. I'm embarrassed by how long that took me to twig. Genuinely,
yeah.
I was looking at it going, and I even put a post up saying, "I hope this joke doesn't win because I just don't get it." And then the penny dropped. And it was like, you say cheese. When you have a photo, you would say cheese. So it's funny in the fact that someone's getting hit by a lump of cheese, that was the pun.
Yeah, so, sometimes your brain's just got to free range a bit before you get these things, eh?
I know, it did it. And I was, then when it happened, I was like, Max.
Because there's a pun at the castle, so it's in the stained glass window and it says sans peur, picture of a cat. And obviously it's a picture of a cat, so it's without a purr, as well as without fear. And I remember having a German visitor coming to me one time and he was really angry because it is not funny. We're like, well, it's a picture of a cat, so it's a picture, so it can't purr. It is not funny. Got very angry, kept going backwards and forwards. It's still not funny.
So it's like, the Germans aren't actually famed for their sense of humour. Like from my part of the world, if you're talking about who doesn't have a sense of humour, like it's the Germans. Yeah. I don't know why. I've got no. It's like the French smell. It's like getting silly things.
And it was a pun, and I guess puns are challenging as we didn't quite get them. So you're just like, why is this funny?
Very, very much so. Now, before we move on to the news for the week, what I want to do is ask our 3 pop questions. Now, these are just 3 questions that I believe, and it's only me that believes it, gets under the skin of my guests and actually sort of tells everyone out there what they need to know about you as a human being, right? Before we even get involved in talking about you. So, the very first question, cream teas. So where you have a scone, you have butter, you have jam, you have cream. What goes on first, the jam or the cream?
Jam first.
That's lucky.
I made 5 batches of scones a day for years and jam first, cream on.
Yeah, exactly. But unless you live in Devon. And then in Devon, they do it the other way around.
Why would you put cream on first?
I don't know. I don't know, which is probably why I just to drive through Devon and go straight to Cornwall, because Cornwall, they do it properly in Cornwall. It's a heated debate in the UK, really very, families are split and divided, split asunder based on, how they have their cream teas. But a Devonshire cream tea is jam on the top, and a Cornish cream tea.
We served Devonshire teas for decades at the castle, and we were doing it wrong.
Well, yeah, no, exactly. But a Cornish cream tea is jam, then cream on top. That's. I don't know why the two do. It might just be being contrary, just to do it that way. That's the only question you can get wrong on this show.
Okay.
So having passed it, because that's the right way of doing it, then everything else is should be sort of
excellent.
Easy stuff. Now, second question. Who is your favourite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
Donatello.
There's no wrong answers.
Yeah, no. I used to watch them a lot.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Did you go through the phase where they started off being Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then they became Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles because they took the ninja out of it because of the connotation of fighting?
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I noticed that.
This happened.
Yeah.
But obviously the fighting and the ninja stuff was still in there, so they just went back after a while to being Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So it was like,
I guess my favourite was kind of the rat, because the rat was the wise old rat. That
Master Splinter.
Yeah.
I'm musophobic, so I can't. I can't really claim to sort of say that I.
They sort of always came and sorted things out, when they were just going everywhere and doing everything.
He was the dad.
Yeah.
So the son, dads. It's what dads do.
Yeah.
As a parent, you kind of go in and kind of go, right. Stop fighting people. Apologise. You go to your side of the room. I think that's what you do as a parent. So now the third question is a thinker. Right. So, would you rather lose the ability to speak or the ability to read?
Oh, that is a tough one. I'd go with lose the ability to speak, because reading is one of my absolute favourite things that I do every single day.
Right. I'm torn on this one. Because I do a lot of reading, but anyone that knows me will also know I do a hell of a lot of talking. Yeah. Yeah. And if I'd probably have to choose to lose the ability to read, because actually I can't see my life without me. It's going to be a very boring radio show. Yeah. You
can see the pages turning.
You just hear them. Can you read that? Can you read it? No, it's not going to. It doesn't quite.
It doesn't quite translate.
Won't quite have the same effect. Some people will be saying quick, lose the ability to speak, Rich. We'd much rather just listen to a crackling paper on your radio show than. But anyway, so I think but I love reading too. It's the last thing I do at the end of the day is read a bit of my book. And go to bed, it
helps clear your mind, eh?
It does. There's a little kind of it's almost like a mental detox, isn't it? Are you a fiction reader or a non-fiction? Because I'm fiction. I
read both. So I read a bit of fiction. So I'm reading the Anthony Trollope novels at the moment, real old-fashioned stuff, and then non-fiction. But my non-fiction would be a lot of biographies, because some people have wonderfully scandalous lives and print their diaries.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
true. So I'm not a non-fiction reader. I'd like to get away into a world that's not mine.
Escape.
Just escape. So people like Jack. I like the Jack Reacher ones, like Lee Childs and Harlan Coben is a fantastic mystery writer. Like some of that stuff. David Badalaki and stuff like that as well. So David Baldacci. A lot of good books out of those. Right. Let's talk about the news. So we've got 3 posts to talk about, and the first one, which got a lot of conversation, one of the group posted up, was about the new roadside drug test for impairment. Now, I honestly genuinely don't know a lot about this particular test, and I hadn't really paid much attention to it. But some of the points raised and some of the points people were making were actually just sort of struck home with me. Now, it's a new test for impairment, right? But what the guys on the group were saying was actually it's actually punishing behaviour, like punishing your what you do, because drug use is actually not legal. Whereas a roadside breath test, it's a legal substance. Alcohol is legal, right? So no one's pointing the finger at you if you go and have and you're not quite at the limit, you're under the limit. Yeah. There's no kind of no one's kind of judging you for that. But if you get tested and you come up positive for cocaine or for methamphetamine or whatever, even if you're at a level that doesn't well, that's actually not a legal activity.
True.
And it's kind of like, and does it actually punish impairment? Because, like, if you're drunk, you're drunk.
How do you
right?
measure it?
How do you measure impairment? Like, that was the bit for me that I'm thinking. Actually, that makes a bit of sense, right? Whilst I don't want anyone to be driving impaired, regardless whether they're just absent-mindedly. Like driving around, their mind's on something else. I forget whether they've got substances in their system, whether they're just distracted. In my mind, they're impaired. But I also don't want to be punishing someone that might have had a smoke like 3 days ago.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That is now showing positive for a substance. Because I used to work for the recruitment company. We used to do the drug panel for a part of the induction, right? And you can be days and still show THC in your system. Yeah. And certain drugs come out your system like in hours, others take weeks.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you're necessarily impaired. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a really tough one because some people might be impaired because they don't know the road code.
Well, no, exactly.
How do you measure it? If you're just measuring drugs or alcohol or something like that, how is that impairment? I guess there's a judgment of if you're under the influence, therefore you are not capable of driving. But I think there's you've made me think about that one.
Well, that's the thing. It actually made me think as well because I hadn't really given it much consideration until that point. Like, because I'm just thinking an impairment test, fine. That's if you're impaired, you're impaired. That's fine. Yeah. I don't want you on the road with me if I'm driving and you're impaired, right? But then when some other people were kind of it's actually judging behaviour rather than impairment and your place in society potentially. That doesn't feel right to me. That feels like an infringement of like basic rights. And I think there was some comment from the Attorney General or someone like that about the fact that they believed it was actually it impinged potentially on your human rights.
Yeah, it does sound a little bit draconian, doesn't it? Because it's how do you actually measure impairment?
No, exactly. Especially when it comes, and what they're also saying was it potentially picks up people who are because this used to happen when we did the screening panel. If you are on codeine, which is a perfectly legal opiate for pain, you would fail the. Jeepers!
Oh, God. You'd fail the. I've got a paracode every now and then.
Yeah, you'd literally fail the test for opiates, right?
Yeah. Goodness.
So, and you kind of go, well, hang on a second. Like you've been prescribed that by a doctor to deal with a condition that you are, like a medical condition. But now you're saying, are they now using that to say that person is impaired?
Goodness gracious, yeah.
Because there are a number of prescription drugs that would.
And you wouldn't even think about that. I wouldn't even think about codeine as being an opiate, quite frankly.
No, well, you wouldn't. But but again, so you've got things like codeine, morphine. When I did my back in, I was on morphine for 8 weeks. I would have failed a drug test every step of the way. Was I still driving? Yes, I was. Was I impaired? No, but I wasn't in pain because because
it'd be worse if you weren't taking them and trying to drive.
I'd be far more distracted. In that situation. So, but again, so it becomes and then how do you decide? Like, how do you, obviously at the moment they do alcohol testing at checkpoints. Are they going to start? I'd feel a bit like funny if they're now trying to test me for drugs.
Yeah, goodness me. Yeah,
at checkpoints. Not that I take drugs. I mean, genuinely, but
you might have a codeine. I mean, I would have had a codeine and thought that I was perfectly okay. And
exactly, but then you've got to stand down for 12 hours. You're not allowed. There's a 12-hour stand down of not being able to drive. Oh. And then a process of kind of appealing.
Oh my goodness gracious me! That does sound rather draconian.
It sounds a bit strange, doesn't it? It's like you've taken codeine because you've got like either you've just had knee surgery, or you've had a hip replacement, and you've taken codeine. You've driven out, literally gone to, and you've got caught at a checkpoint, and now you can't drive for 12 hours. Driving might be your job.
Yeah.
You know. Driving might be your job, and suddenly you can't. You've got to appeal that,
which is a pain.
Yeah, and that process won't be easy.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't feel as well thought through.
No.
And I'm saying this,
but so much of this stuff isn't well thought through, isn't it? It's like, let's have a rule. Damn the consequences.
Absolutely. And I'm a fan of not having impaired drivers on the road, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I've lost far now to drunk drivers. Friends, family have died, right? So I'm an advocate of no drink driving.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I wish we had a zero limit. I don't think we should have a tolerance. That's my view.
Yeah.
So I'm very much against having impaired drivers on the road, but I'm not sure that this cracks that problem.
No.
I think it causes perhaps potentially more problems than it.
There's a lot of legislation that's not well thought through.
No, exactly. And a lot from this most recent government. I don't know where this started. It might have started under the previous government, for all I know.
I have no idea.
But it doesn't feel well considered.
No.
So we've got that one sorted.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next article, which is actually, I find this makes my brain want to kind of twist itself into knots and then jump out of my head and then go and get run over by a stampeding buffalo. Is New Zealand First saying that they will campaign in the next election on repealing the bill that they just voted for, which is the Regulatory Standards Bill, which anyone that's been paying attention for the last couple of years will know is a very racist, very regressive. It's far worse than the Treaties Principle Bill that didn't get through, in my opinion. And then you've got New Zealand First, who have literally within just weeks ago voted for it because they agreed to it as part of the coalition deal, saying they'd repeal it. Now, the thing that jumps out at me is that are people that desperate to be in power that they will vote for something which is contrary to their fundamental morals and beliefs in order to hold on to the chains of power, which clearly New Zealand First have done in this instance in order to be at the table, and the same with National. And then people were asking, like Nicola Willis and Chris Bishop and stuff, like, again, and there's no point asking Christopher Luxon because he hasn't answered a question in 2 years, in my opinion. What I would say to you is that I don't have to answer any questions because I'm the Prime Minister. But they're also saying we potentially would repeal it too.
It's what a merry-go-round, isn't it? It's not even. There's nothing merry about the go-round, but it's disgraceful, isn't it?
It's embarrassing, like genuinely,
and a waste of time
and money. You know, whilst we're in the cost of living crisis, and this cost of living crisis has been going on the previous government as well. I appreciate people trying to do things to progress what they believe in, what they fundamentally believe in as a politician and a party. You know, we believe in doing this to the economy, or we believe in the opposites. I get it. If that's what you believe, you take that forward, whether I think it's the right thing or the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But to obviously fundamentally, just in order to hold onto a position of power, you've agreed to something that you don't believe in.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's embarrassing. How can we look at those politicians? How can you look at those politicians and go, "I'll vote for you again, mate"? Because next year,
just like, this is not okay.
Because next year they want our votes. But also next year, and this is the bit that I find the strangest, is both of those parties, if they want to be back in power, National and Winston First, as I like to call them, they need ACT.
Yeah.
Because no one else is coming to that party with them, right?
Or are they trying to dig away at the ACT votes? Like, what's their plan?
I don't know, because I don't see enough people coming away from ACT to those two in order to mean that National could. I mean, it certainly doesn't. It's not reflected in the polls right now that National could govern with just Winston First, because they can't. So you're sitting there going, you're basically sitting there going, that stuff that we did for you last week, ACT, we're dragging it back next time through. It's gone burger. So why ACT kind of come to the table and go, let's have an agreement, because
they're in a great position for themselves, aren't they?
Yeah, it's mad.
It is. It is.
And I don't like it.
No,
I don't. I struggle with what politicians we have at the moment at a central level.
Yeah,
it's they feel like turtles on fence posts to me.
I think you heard what Shane Jones said, and it's coming out next about, what is it, the demonic egg beaters, when he was describing the Dunedin ORC councils, and I just beyond myself with anger at hearing that on national radio first thing in the morning. That is disgraceful. That's like, the Bye-Bye Freddy stuff. It's just disgusting.
Yeah, it's like, and then you got people like Trump going, "Shh, quiet, piggy." The words
it's denigrating.
The words that are coming out of our politicians' mouth at the moment are disgusting,
nasty,
and they're nasty. They shouldn't be there. Like I genuinely, they're like tortoises on fence posts. I've got no idea how they got there, and they're elevated above their position where they should be naturally in life, because they're in a position where, of height, where you kind of go like, how did you get to be someone that's decided? And you look at someone like Shane Jones, who, 20 years ago was standing out in Parliament talking about the environment and this and that, and then suddenly he's become the destroyer because it works for him.
Yeah.
Because it's politically good for
expedient,
him. I don't think I could change my philosophy or my moral compass of that from north to south, literally like 180 degrees. To go from that to that.
You have to wonder what's going on in his head, don't
Nothing.
you?
No, I don't have to worry. I don't have to wonder at all. I know what's going on.
Well, I wonder where demonic egg beater came from. I'm like,
how
would you come out with that?
I got no idea. What does it even mean?
I don't even know what it means. I'm
exactly. That's
idea.
That's more confusing to me than the cheese joke.
Yeah, well, I'm just like, did you just like get some AI and go, let's see if a quote that the media will pick up or people will be offended by. Give me one.
Give me one. Yeah, AI.
Demonic egg beater, like, ChatGPT.
Ask Siri, give me a curse that no one will understand. Demonic egg beater. It's just mad.
Yeah, and I suppose we're talking about that instead of the actual issues, aren't we?
It's distraction. I firmly believe it is. I believe a lot of what's going on is that distraction politics that Trump does so well.
Yeah.
Right? He's destroying his country, but but you're all focused on the Epstein files, right? Yeah. Because it's just distraction politics. And again, I don't know how we've got to that as a society. Because,
it's clickbait, isn't it?
Because I go around the world and I go around to the people that I know, and none of them are sucked in by it. But yet here we are.
Yeah.
And none of the people I talk to are interested in it, but yet here we are.
Oh, we were just talking about it, weren't we?
Well, exactly. And again, we're distracted. And meanwhile, there, things are happening that we should be paying attention to. Now, one thing I do want to, and you were in this story earlier on in the week, and it's one that's quite close to my heart as well. So you might better help me out here with actually give me some context around this. Is the Crimes Legislation Stalking and Harassment Amendment Bill that's passed its final reading, and the LGNZ had come out and said this quite a good thing because it obviously can help our elected members. Now, as elected members, I know this because I know a good few of you, and I've spent time getting to know you as friends as well as anything else. You face a hell of a lot of abuse. Right,
much.
Whilst we laugh, we kind of have to. It's not acceptable. It's disgusting. No. It's the worst part of being an elected official, or even trying to run as an. I've stood for council a couple of times, and the page that I run, I get death threats, right, for running a page on Facebook where I ask people to do two things: be nice. Be truthful.
That's so controversial.
It is, isn't it? You wouldn't have thought. Yeah. You wouldn't have thought that would generate the kind of hate that is aimed at me on an almost weekly basis for enforcing those rules.
It's disgraceful. I mean, we're just trying to build a better society, aren't we?
Look, there's 15 councillors around our table, right? I probably agree with 8 of them. I disagree with 7 of them. But I don't wish the other 7 any kind of harm or ill will or anything, right?
Just people.
They still believe that they firmly believe that they're doing the best job for the people that they represent, right? And even I've come to verbal blows with a number of those people, including former Mayor Radich, Lee Vandervis. We don't agree. We absolutely don't agree. But I wouldn't abuse them.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't condone them being abused by anyone or anything. Now, the fact that you yourself had said that you got, people saying they wish you would die.
Oh, yelling me out. When we were doing the elections, they were yelling out, what was it, yelling out of the car? Oh, you effing loser. You're just standing on the side of the road and so many cyclists yelling at me and I go, I voted for Albany Street. I did yell back once, but just going, if you bugger you, all of that kind of stuff. And just, the escalation in the last 6 years, like first election, None of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's just ramped up and ramped up and ramped up. Second election, it was toxic. And then this one, just unbelievable. And it's not about me reading it. It's about my daughter reading it.
And
it's
the people you know reading it.
Yeah, the people that I know. And so much of it is really nasty and just, the one, I went to Mayor School and they were just like, don't read the comments. It's, where you go to die, basically.
But that shouldn't be the case.
It shouldn't be okay.
We, as in people that get abused, we're the victims of this, right? We shouldn't be the ones ignoring it. Those people shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, because it's not a safe place for us to be.
No, exactly. But it's one of those things. Like it's around the wrong way in my view, because I've reported a number of people to the police. Right, I know police have knocked on the doors of people that have abused and threatened me. All right, and as soon as anything happens, I just put it straight to the police and go, like, you deal with that.
Yeah.
But the police don't do anything with it either. Quite often they'll come to you, and they've come to me before and go, what do you want me to do? And I go, well, I want you to know about it. Do you want to go and talk to them? Like, do you think that'll make it better? And you kind of going, probably not. So probably we won't do anything. And you kind of going, no, I'm hoping that this bill might. And tell me, do you know much about the detail of it?
No. It's always at the higher level. But I think that there's two bits of advice. It's like, don't look at social media, and then it's like collect the threats, because stuff can escalate, and that's really hard as well, because if you don't want to go into the cesspool and look at all the awful things, then how can you collect them? So that's a bit of a conundrum. But previous to that, the government put through something where elected members can have security cameras and security monitoring as well, and that was a big sigh of relief. When you're a councillor, how can you afford to put in those security systems in your own home? And you need to put them in. At least under Mayor Hawkins, they got the address removed, but anyone can just follow your home anyway.
Well, yeah, exactly, and they've all got your phone number. And again, it's like people have got my phone number. Like I've had texts that are just not pleasant from numbers that I don't.
Yeah, and the fake
profiles.
Fake profiles are vicious.
They're absolutely nasty. And again, social media doesn't want to do a thing that doesn't want to do a thing about that.
Yeah,
right?
And it's perfectly obvious that it's not a real person.
Well, sometimes they're faking a person.
Oh, that's awful. Yeah, I heard that happen. Who did that? Yeah, that happened to someone recently, didn't it?
Bruce Mahowski, who's a friend of the show, and hopefully doesn't mind me saying that, because me and him talk about it. Someone set up a fake profile pretending to be him, and is now like trying to and commenting in places where people know of him, because he's quite a well-known person because of his position on a lot of things, and I stand with him on those positions invariably. But now commenting, trying to pretending to be him,
so ugly.
And they actually made a comment to Councillor Ong.
Oh,
and which wasn't very nice.
I did hear vaguely about that.
Yeah, and Councillor Wrong thought it was Bruce until I saw it, and I went to Bruce. I went, what?
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, that's not me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so he went immediately and he said to Councillor Wrong, and it got sorted out. But again, it's like he's known. And then you kind of get in.
Because usually people, your friends kind of say, someone's faked a profile.
Someone's faked you. Yeah,
but
exactly.
They have to be paying attention and seeing that. And I think about how many friend requests you get, and
Mad.
some people just go click, click, click.
Yeah.
And then you're linked in with these fake profiles and everyone goes, they're friends with so-and-so. But it's really bad and it's really ugly. And
it is. And it's and that's malicious as well.
Totally.
That is totally malicious. And that's the other side of it for me, is the fact that some of this stuff is done like with the anonymity of a keyboard and a screen, but it is done to be absolutely nasty.
Oh, it's to break down our society.
I would hope that someone like Bruce will be able to go to the police under this legislation and then actually want to do something about it. Because that's the difference, is that, we have all these laws. This is the bit that frustrates the life out of me. We have all these laws. All right, and then you go to the police and say someone's broken that law, and then
enforcement,
and then the police go, well, I've got bigger and better laws to be enforcing. Whilst you're right, that law has been broken, right? we're not going to do anything about it. And so at that point, I want to scream because I'm kind of going like, I'm a law abider. Right? I'm someone that I'd like to think there's not many. I don't think I've knowingly broken a law. I might have broken a law here and there by accident and then felt really bad about it and probably beat myself up for ages about it. Yeah. But I'm not a natural lawbreaker. I'm a natural law abider. And I look at laws and go, they're there for a reason. If someone's gone to the effort of enshrining it in legislation, we at least need to enforce it. And if you can't enforce it... there's so much
stuff, though, because I remember when we did, like, the freedom camping bylaw or something like that, and don't enforce it, you're just like, well, this is a waste of time because people have to learn that these are the rules, and if you break the rules, there are consequences. But I think that's why people ignore the rules and the laws because they know at some point that it's not going to get enforced, and that's the bit for me that just drives me mad because, like, I want to say... Because I'm like my moral compass firmly points north, and it kind of go. You break a law, you face the consequences. And I force that in my group. You break my law, you break my rules. No one gets to break my rules without consequence. Yeah. And so if I can do it, then society should do it. And that's the bit that frustrates me because actually, so I'd like to think that sometimes under this law, I could just go, I'm being harassed, deal with it. Yeah. But I don't think that will happen. Yeah, it's all about the process, isn't it? And I don't necessarily know if it's there. I mean, there's a lot of laws that are put through that have no teeth, basically. And you think about at council, we have our code of conduct. I mean, I was saying to my daughter about wet bus ticket because bus tickets don't even exist anymore.
No, wet or otherwise.
I'm just like, how can you describe how useless that stuff is? You go through all this process, and at the end, no punishment.
And it's a process that comes with cost because there's a legal cost to it. In my mind, again, if you're going to go through, if there's a legal and there's all that kind of stuff, there should be an outcome that is quantitative and enforceable. If you are an a-hole because you to someone as part of your job as a public elected official, there should be some repercussion to say because otherwise what happens is you just go you look at it and go, I had to say sorry, and I didn't mean it. Everyone knows that apology comes with is a fake apology, and other than that, I just got on and did my job. And I find I struggle with elected officials. Full stop. That you have to. There's no detrimental effect of being awful. Yeah. And I don't mean it's just being awful, being a nasty person.
Oh, yeah. People say, it happens at the elections, but you're like,
Does it? Yeah, exactly.
Does it?
It's just crazy. I want to talk about that in a minute, but before we do, I'm going to get a quick word from our wonderful sponsor.
Have you checked out Hazur Kebab yet? It's your go-to for a delicious lunch, a tasty dinner, or anything in between. Order online to save time and pick up some delicious, authentic Turkish cuisine in just minutes. HazurKebabCafe.co.nz. Dine in or take away at 906 George Street.
Do you like a kebab?
Yeah, that sounds delicious. My mouth's watering. It's lunchtime, eh?
I haven't had lunch yet. I'm running straight from here to go and have my work's Christmas lunch. So I'm going to be every time I see it. It's the top end of George Street. Yeah, opposite George Street Normal.
Oh yeah, I know.
Kebab, yeah. And they're fantastic food. Like genuinely, I believe, and I've eaten a few. Yeah, best kebabs in Dunedin. I would say that, and I'm not saying that other kebabs are rubbish. I'm just saying I think they just.
Elevated.
And it's just, and the food is cooked with love.
Yeah. That makes a big difference, doesn't it?
If you get the chance, go there.
I will.
Because Mustafa's a wonderful human being, friend of the show again, victim of the Christchurch shootings. Awesome human being. He's like a son to me now. He's that kind of age. But the food is gorgeous.
Oh, we'll go there.
Yeah, absolutely. And just invite me because I get a frequent fly.
Maybe we just go now and we'll leave the show for. We'll do the reading show, shall we?
Exactly. I'll just leave you to read the rest of the show, people. Mayor Barker and I are going for a kebab. So, talk to me. I mean, so you are obviously the new mayor of Dunedin. With great power comes great responsibility, as Spider-Man would tell you. Maybe just give us a bit of a 5 minutes Cliff Notes how you've got to here from where you started. I mean, everyone knows you grew up in the castle and stuff like that, but give us a little bit of again, maybe your motivation, what took you to be, what makes someone want to be a mayor?
Oh, I have no idea. I guess that when I was at the previous to being on council, I worked at the albatross colonies, the albatross and the blue penguins pukakura for New Zealand's first private charitable conservation trust. So that sparked my love and interest for conservation. So previously, you work in town, it's all grey, and then you get out there, you're cleaning stuff off beaches, you're seeing albatross chicks badly affected by rubbish, etc. And then I'm in the tourism industry as well. And part of my frustration was that council weren't doing much about the economic development stuff, the tourism stuff. We were at the bottom of the charts, I guess. And so I thought that I would stand for council. It was kind of one of those crazy things. And I'm a great believer in stop moaning about it and do something. So I stood not expecting to get in and got in. Had the first 3 years and they were pretty tough. Like I had worked at council for 7 years in economic development. So I'm like, I've got this. I know everything about council. Get in there and the learning curve is huge. It's like a wall, basically. Council is so much more than you can imagine. It just touches so many bits of our lives. So got in, did the 3 years and it was pretty toxic, pretty hard. So I wasn't going to come back because I had had this beautiful life working in tourism with albatross and penguins and things. And then my daughter said to me, if you don't do it, I'll be doing it in 30 years. So I scraped in on that last day and put my nomination in, and then got rated the top performing councillor by the ODT and also was a top polling councillor. So that gave me some really great feelings about the positive way that I was moving forward, and it's a big, long learning curve. So I became deputy mayor for a year until I wasn't. And that was a learning curve as well. I think I got quite an insight into the mayor's role, but still now I know just a bit of an insight. And then I've worked really hard over the last few years to try and figure out what's going on under the hood of council and to achieve change, because I think that we as a city have kind of just been tripping over our shoelaces. Like we are the most amazing city. We've got this heritage, this wildlife, amazing people, incredible businesses, the university, all going for us, and we just seem to lack that momentum to achieve what I know that we can do. So I'm into plans and strategies and just like, well, we need to set our vision, set our goals, work together, because I feel like the partnerships have broken a lot. I think you might have seen in the paper we met with the university for the first time. Can you believe that our council has not met the university council before? So that's my staff is trying to rebuild.
What, not ever before?
No, isn't that ridiculous?
Wow. Okay.
Like, we all, it's a small city. The one of the magic things is that we all know each other. We've all got the city in our heart and we all want to achieve. So it's trying to rebuild those partnerships. And then my goal is to make us the best place to live in New Zealand, because I think that's achievable, and something that people, I know it's the livability that matters in a city. We don't want to be going backwards. If we're not going forwards and we're sitting still, or we're going backwards, that's a problem.
Well, sitting still is going backwards, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I don't think people realise that.
Yeah. If we weren't investing in George Street, if we weren't building new libraries, if we weren't making it a great place to live, why would students come and study here? Why would my daughter stay in this city if it's not an amazing, vibrant city where she has fun, she has job opportunities? And I'm not just talking about her, I'm talking about all people. And then my mother's 83, everyone knows her age. I can't say that on the radio. And an older person. So how does she thrive in the city as well? So it's great to have those insights and then try and build a better city for us all. So that's what motivates me, is to get in and make change. And I think that I'm not in electioneering anymore, but having those skills of being on council and trying to and understanding, I guess, the things that need to change, and then trying to drive them, because it's a big bureaucracy, it just grows.
I don't think people realise that. I mean, I've been on the campaign trail, right? So a couple of times, and I've spent very little doing it because I don't have any money. So and it definitely favours people that can spend money, and we've seen that very much so in the last election. But what has always been apparent to me is that just because you're successful as a business person or a circus clown or I'm just trying to think of all different things you can be, it doesn't give you any kind of leg up to being a councillor, because that job is something that people just do not understand until they're doing it. I firmly believe that, right?
You're completely right.
And I've spent a lot of time, because I know a lot of people, trying to understand that job. I'm probably more knowledgeable about what the role of a councillor looks like than most people.
Yeah.
I'd like to think, because I've
absolutely.
I've spent a lot of time understanding it, right, and probably more time than some of the people that have just been elected. And I don't mean that nastily. I just mean that they don't, because they haven't given it consideration.
Yeah.
They just wanted to put.
It's not what you expect.
It's not what you expect, and I've had some conversations with some of the new councillors already around that. And they will stay private, but again, it's not what they expect when they're standing. So, but the one thing that genuinely drives me batty is the public perception of council.
There's a meme there.
There is the public perception of what of the ease of what you do, your propensity, whoever you are, to waste their money, and the fact that Lee Vandervis can do it better. I just throw that in there, but it's just this weirdness, like that. Again, there's this view that you are not trying to do a good job, and the staff are not trying to do a good job. And I've said this on the show many, many times, and I'll say it many, many times again. There is not a single individual in the entire Civic Centre building of people that go to work, including the 15 councillors and mayor, who go to work one morning and go, all I want to do today is just mess the city up for everyone else. All I'm interested. But the public perception is, that's what you're all doing, right?
Yeah.
This bloated bureaucracy that everyone is there to destroy the world, destroy the beautiful city, and literally, again, it's a sort of a vocal minority. The person that votes no to everything is the person that can somehow fix it.
Yeah, well, you've got to be proactive and positive. And I spend a lot of time looking at best practices in other councils as well. And I read, I'm such a geek, read all the Auditor General reports, because we can do better. But it is, people are, I was one of those people that turned up to work at council, and it was I worked in the tourism sector. It was my passion to make things better, to be the premier cruise destination, to have amazing experiences for people, to uplift people through job opportunities, etc. And that was as a staff member. And now as a councillor, I worked, 50, 60 hours. As a mayor, it's, that's 12, 14-hour days. It's hard.
Yeah.
My poor daughter, she was off to work today, and I was like, you're doing a 12-hour day because she's got 2 jobs. And I said, you shouldn't work so hard. She said, I'll stop when you do. And I'm like, bye.
Off you go.
Yeah, it's hard.
Absolutely, and I think I do want to get under the hood of this a little bit, in the sense of, I do want to know what's the difference, right, from being a councillor to being a mayor. Very different salary, all right, but also, but in my mind, a very different role.
Oh my gosh, being a councillor was a piece of cake compared to being mayor. It is really hard, and it's all consuming 24/7, and I guess the stress, because there's a lot of stuff to sort out and think about. The leadership staff, like yesterday I chaired a meeting for around 8 hours, and that's draining, because you have to be on top of everything all of that time, because there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm looking a couple of papers ahead to go, right, we've got this paper, how long is that going to take? Can we get through this? Are the staff okay? Are the staff here? What's the time? What's going on with people? So and then trying to also think about the papers yourself. In which way you're going to vote, all of that kind of stuff, trying to take all the information in. It's a really, really complex thing to be chairing the meeting, being at the meeting for that many hours, and then being conscious about our staff sitting there as well, because it's tiring for them. And then it's all on live stream, which is another stress as well.
Yeah. It's sort of, but again, the trouble is with the public just think that those meetings are the sum total of the work that people do as well. Yeah. And it's like, and it got to, I mean, I don't want to talk particularly too much about particular councillors, but there was a councillor who didn't get a lead position, and was saying that I won't be doing very much work if I don't have a lead position. And I'm sitting there going, like, as a councillor, you can be as busy as you want to be and have no title whatsoever. You look at people like Steve Walker last time round, and Mayor Radic sidelined him, and rightly or wrongly, doesn't make a difference, but they were still able to
work really hard, read all of the papers. I mean, we have hundreds of pages to read. I can read 50 pages an hour, before all the meetings, still doing mayor stuff, trying to read all the papers, and mine are full of sticky notes and stuff. I read them a couple of times, and that's a lot of work. But, as a councillor, you can choose how much work you do.
Well, you can tell who has read the papers. Right, I remember, I again go back to the first meeting, you've got a new councillor asking questions. If they'd read the papers, they had all the answers. And he knew, and he was pointedly making these points, and you can't, and your staff, and I feel sorry for the staff at this point, who have prepared those papers, for that to be ignored and not read, to then have to answer those questions in the meeting. And, if it was me, I'd struggle, because I'd be wanting to go, it's in your paper.
Sometimes, I maybe in the last training, I may have yelled out, page something, paragraph X, because it is really annoying, because if you read your papers, it's in the papers. Sometimes you'll ask a question to expand on something that's in the papers.
Or to clarify it, and that's fine.
Take it as read.
But to not even understand that the question you're asking has been asked and answered by the papers is frustrating. And again, that adds to the in my mind, adds to the perception of councillors not wanting to do the job that they're that they're paid to do, and it's a difficult role, all right. I'm like you, right? I'm a do something about it kind of person, and that's why What's News Dunedin existed, right?
Because you did something.
Because I did something about it. Because I was upset with the Dunedin News and the Dunedin News Uncut and all the other that were toxic hellholes, in my opinion, and they've got better, and people like Bruce Mahowski are part of those things getting better. So I did something about it, and again, I've stood for council because, again, I'm understanding it, and I spend a lot of time on the group trying to explain to people, right? It really upsets me when you get someone that gets so angry about the city, the council, and then they don't even understand the difference between the fact that DCC don't look after the buses and ORC look after the buses and DCC look after the bus stops. Yeah. And some of this fundamental, and again, and what frustrates me the most, Sophie, I have to say this with the greatest respect to your longest serving councillor, Councillor Vandervis. He's in the paper again today, going on about getting parking because all you have to do is get rid of the cycleways on State Highway 1. And State Highway 1's got nothing to do with the Dunedin City Council.
No,
because
it's NZTAs.
It's Whakatahi.
It's
and it always has been.
Yeah.
And for someone who spent 21 years in and around council to still not be understanding that is so frustrating. Because we look to him, his supporters look to him to be their representative. And if he's not bringing the right information, guess what? They're not getting the right information because they're not listening to me, and then those people aren't listening to you because you're kind of polar opposites of. So they're listening to him. They're going to him for their knowledge, and he's giving it to them wrong, and that frustrates me because actually, like, Councillor Vandervis, out of all the people that we've got around the table, because he's talking about his huge experience. He's been talking about that when he didn't get chair of finance or whatever the position might be, and he said he doesn't want anything. But there might be a reason for that. If you don't have the knowledge that State Highway 1 is not yours to play with, that's fundamental.
Yeah. I did joke about that we should paint them different colours, not our stuff.
No, exactly. Yeah,
because people don't get it. We get all the blame for all the stuff, and we're like, actually, that is out of our control. Like the buses,
colour code them.
Because we get a lot of stuff about the buses, and we're like, actually, they're not ours. We can advocate, but we cannot decide, and that makes it really hard. And that's the challenge: is it about longevity or is it about impact? As a councillor, because I don't necessarily know that being around council forever makes better councillors. Sure, you have some insight and knowledge, but we need fresh people coming in, fresh perspectives, and dare I say, younger people as well, because that's where we are building our city for, and they don't get the opportunity to be represented.
I advocated that while I was standing, and I said to people, if you can elect Mickey Treadwell and the people have, which is fantastic.
We love him. Yeah.
He's fantastic. If people like Mickey Treadwell and Rose Finney and Lily Waring and Lachlan Ackers and these young people, I don't have to stand for council. I feel like I'm doing it because I need to bring their views, and I feel like I stand a better chance than those guys. And that sounds really weird.
I'm bringing my daughter's views. You know?
Exactly. I'm bringing my kids' views. My son's very politically motivated, and I'm trying to stand up for them. But I'd rather they stood up for themselves, and I'd rather the
and they don't get the opopportunity, do they?
No, they don't. And but they are fantastic human beings. They are, and they're probably better positioned because they've just got a little bit more about them.
Well, they talk about how your brain deteriorates.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be working that hard when I'm 75, you know. But you know, it's like, but again, I'd have them. I'd put them in front of me any day of the week.
Yeah.
And I'd if I could guarantee that they'd get voted in rather than me, I wouldn't stand.
Yeah.
I genuinely because I think they are the children are our future.
Absolutely.
Was it Whitney Houston? I've got no idea.
Yeah.
There's a song. All right. See, the brain's not working. But they should be there. Is my view. Now I want to run out of time. 5 minutes. Right. Before we do, I'm going to get another quick word from our sponsor.
Have you checked out Hazur Kebab yet? It's your go-to for a delicious lunch, a tasty dinner, or anything in between. Order online to save time and pick up some delicious, authentic Turkish cuisine in just minutes. HazurKebabCafe.co.nz. Dine in or take away at 906 George Street.
We're going to run out of time. We always do on the show because I always talk too much. We got 5 minutes left, and I'm thinking, what's your vision for this training? Because I'm looking at what you've got around the table with regards to people, and I see a lot of hard work for you, and I don't know any other way to put that. There are some personalities that are coming for your job for a start.
I think there's 8 people that stood for councillor. Sorry, stood for mayor around the table. It's a challenge, eh?
Yeah, exactly. So and we've had 2 one-term mayors, right, which is unusual. There is clearly, and I'm not going to name names, but there's clearly some misogyny around the table as well, and people that do not like the fact that there is a female in charge, right?
Couple of them, Jerry and I.
well, exactly, absolutely, and more than a couple who don't like a female being in charge. And again, I can see that just as an innocent bystander watching what goes on. And most people don't. Most people don't watch what goes on, and then just like to critique it, like they spend every day inside the building, right? And they haven't. And I find that very frustrating. You must find that even more frustrating, if you're there. What's your kind of goal for the next 3 years? Because I genuinely think you've got a far bigger challenge on your plate than perhaps your 2 predecessors. That's just my take on the mixture of people you've got around the table.
That's true. But my challenge is to bring everyone together on a joint vision, and I think there's a lot of good feeling around the table. A lot of people want to achieve something. And we just had the ROS results, the Residents' Opinion Survey, which is pretty dire before the election. And yesterday at the meeting, we're like, everyone needs to look in the mirror. We need to work as a team, and we need to be a council that achieves stuff and that people are proud of. And I think that my key stuff is to get those partnerships working, to get us in a joint vision. And I was talking to the councillors about we need to find where our Venn diagram intersects, because everybody came with priorities and wants to achieve something. So if we can find the middle of the Venn diagram where we can work together, then we can work together on that stuff. And maybe I'm being a bit Pollyanna about that, but I truly believe that if we capture the energy and the wanting to do good things for the city, then we can move forward. And we have to. We absolutely have to. That's the bottom line, and getting everyone to work together. I know it's challenging.
Can I make my pitch for what I would like to see from council? And it's not anything particular. But better communication, because one of the things that I've noticed, exactly, and everyone talks about it. Everyone talks about transparency. Everyone talks about communication, right? And that's all those people that have got voted in, right?
Yeah.
Every single one of them, right? Yeah. But what they don't do, in my opinion, is actually communicate back to the general public very well.
Yeah.
Right. They'll have their rants. They'll push their opinions. They'll push their standpoints. But they don't come back to people like me with explanation as to why you've chosen to do something that you do.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's missing. I think that because I think again, it's just maybe it's my Pollyanna moment. I'm thinking if more people understood the why.
Yeah.
Then the resident opinion survey would actually progressively get better because they're actually understanding.
True. So if we talked about Albany Street, people would go, "Oh, they're stealing all the car parks." You're like, the vision for a connected city.
Exactly, and the reason why we're doing it is because of this, and this, and actually, and I think the struggle is that we have a local media that's not interested in telling the why because it doesn't sell papers, which is a shame because I think that would actually educate people, and rather than being a them and us, it would actually just be an us.
Yeah, and that's what we need.
That's something I see that's missing, and something I try to do on the page is explain some of the why.
Yeah,
right. But I'm I'm like a lone voice shouting into the void when it comes to that. And I think councillors should have a responsibility in council to bring that back better. Some do it reasonably okay, but the majority, in my mind, the majority don't, because what they're doing is actually they're pushing their talking points rather than bringing back
the why.
The why. Does that make sense?
Good tip. Absolutely. Yeah. And we do need to be better
we're
at
going to learn something today?
It's something to really think about, because I think as a council sometimes we just keep looking at our own belly buttons instead of thinking about all of the people in the community to whom council is not really relevant until you get your rates bill. I still think it's a miracle when you turn on your tap and water comes out.
Exactly.
I grew up in the country.
And that is where we're going to have to end the show. Thank you very much for coming along. Hopefully we'll get to speak to you again during your training, but thank you. Just sit there while I just round out the show. Well, that's a wrap for this week. Thank you for tuning in. I've been Richard Knights, and you've all been wonderful. Remember, if you're looking for a robust, respectful adult debate about all things local and further afield, and a welcoming online community doesn't take itself too seriously, come and find What's News Dunedin on Facebook and join our fun. On next week's show, we'll be talking to Alan Somerville, ORC councillor. That could be an interesting conversation. And look forward to seeing you next Friday at 12 on ORFM. And if you want to listen to the show again or simply share it with your friends, you can find the podcast at oar.org.nz or even on Spotify, YouTube, or your favourite podcast provider.
This podcast was produced by ORFM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.